Light, there's something I want to tell you. Something I think you have to hear. It'll take some explaining. So when you have the time, come and talk to me.
Hello everyone. In this episode we are going to start creating the dialogue sequence that it's happening here in the Ark with ORK and Lightning. So first of all, let's start by creating a folder inside our resources audio, and let's call it folder voice, and let's import or drag the MP3 that you can find in the link below, this one, and under the textures also drag or import this new texture that I made in Photoshop, the comes notification. But let's change the texture type to sprite 2D and UI, uncheck generate physics and click apply. The next steps will be to create a prefab out of this image to use in the content box. So let's switch to the empty scene where we were working with the UI prefabs. Right click on the canvas and create UI prefab UI panel, and let's rename it to P underscore hope comes content box. In the source image, let's drag our new texture. Let's switch the alpha to 1, uncheck raycast target and maskable, and let's now change the size to match the size of the image, which is 900 to 148, and the stretch anchor, let's change it to shift alt to middle. Let's change the pivot to 0 0, and yet looks like wrap, so it's a native size that will go whatever unity. And then we have the prefab, so let's save it under our prefabs UI. Save the scene and let's switch back to the Ark scene. Next, let's create our GUI box. So let's open window, ORK Framework editor, and let me drag it to the right scene, screen I meant. In the menus, let's go to the GUI boxes and let's create a brand new one, and let's name it Hope Comes Dialogue Box. We can uncheck cursor over and reset unity input, leave the height adjustment to none, and here in the content box let's change the bounds to XIII, Y 600, the width should be 900 like the image, and the height 148. Next, for the padding, we need to change the X padding to 210, Y0, Z0 and bottom 0. Right, so in the text format we can uncheck show shadow. Then for the font, let's select our square font, change the size to 30. We need to check show outline. We can leave the default shadow color as it is, but change the outline offset to 2 pixels. For the text alignment, we want to select the left alignment, then the top line alignment. We can leave 1 and 10 as default, but we want to use text typing, so check that. And for the interval, which means in seconds between the index increases, set 0, increase every update call. We want this to change it to 0.06. No audio clip. We can leave everything as it is. For the name box settings, we do like to uncheck show box, and we can close everything up until we get into override default settings, where we want to override the GUI skins and specifically the content box to add the one that we just created. So let's select it from the prefabs UI hub comes content box. Let's change the reference to resources and let's save our changes. If you want, you can go into the open in GUI editor to see how it looks, kind of. Close it again, save, and let's move on. Without leaving the editor, let's click on the events tab and let's create a new one. So by default is already selected to create a new one. And here in the event settings, we need to add an audio clip, so click on add audio clip and let's select the one we just imported. So this is going to be Hope Ark intro. Add it as a resource reference. And then in the canvas, let's click base and add a wait node. Let's add it 2 seconds wait, and afterwards let's add a new node, UI Dialogue, show dialogue, and for this dialogue we want it to be of type auto close. We want to select our new Hope Comes dialog box for the GUI box. For the text, I'm going to paste this text. I'm going to select everything here in the editor, click on more and change the color to yellow and select everything again and click add. So it will be enclosed into these color tags. Click OK. And we also want to play audio. We want to play the audio clip 0 that we added in the event settings. We want the audio to stop when we close the dialog. We want to accept the block accept button. And for the close after, we want to set it to 15 seconds. Wait for this time to reach in order to close the dialog. So let's save our new event. Let's select Game, Resources, Events. Let's create a new folder, the Ark, and let's call it the Ark Introduction and save it. Now we can close ORK editor, and from here, now we are in the scene. Let's create a new empty object and let's call it Ark introduction, and let's click on the ORK Scene Wizard, and let's add a event interaction component to it. Let's select the event and click OK. Now we want this event to start automatically, so click on Auto Start. We want this event to play just once, so click on Deactivate After Event. We don't want the turn player to event, so uncheck that one. Here in the variable settings, we want this event to play only when a condition is met, and that condition is going to be let's check, add game variable. Here in the value is the name of the variable that we want to check, and it's going to be called first arrival. It's going to be of type boolean and when it's false. So when the first arrival variable is false, we want to execute this event, and after the event has finished, we want to set this variable to true. So the value is the name, the type is bool, and we check to change it to true. Save these changes, and we should be go to test. So let's give it a try.
Light, there's something I want to tell you. Something I think you have to hear. It'll take some explaining. So when you have the time, come and talk to me.
There we go.